I always dreamed of becoming a successful businessman. Growing up in a middle-class family, I knew the only way out of financial struggles was through hard work and ambition. By the age of 32, I had saved every possible penny to start my own logistics company. But starting a company from scratch required more than passion. It required investment. That's when Adil came into my life. He was 10 years older than me, well-dressed, smooth-talking, and carried himself like a man who had already conquered the business world. We met at a networking event. I still remember his words, "You have the brains, and I have the money. Together, we can rule this industry." Those words felt like destiny. He offered to invest, and in return, he'd be my business partner. At that moment, I thought I had found the perfect ally. We signed the partnership, rented a small office, and began with just 5 employees. I managed operations day and night, sometimes sleeping on the office couch. Adil mostly handled the financial side and met with clients. Within a year, our company started gaining recognition. Everyone said we were the perfect team. But little did I know, he wasn't my partner. He was a predator at first. The signs were small. He started making decisions without consulting me. He'd tell clients I was just handling technical stuff while he was the real owner. One evening, I discovered he had opened a new office branch without even informing me. When I questioned him, he laughed and said, "You worry too much. This is how businesses grow. Trust me." That "trust me" became his favorite line. Soon, my salary, yes, my own salary from my own company, started coming late. Suppliers began treating me differently, as if my authority didn't matter. Even employees started saying things like, "We'll check with Adil before confirming." I felt like a stranger in the company I had built with my own sweat and blood. One afternoon, a lawyer arrived at my office with documents. He politely told me I no longer had any legal rights to the company. I was shocked. My hands shook as I flipped through the papers. My signatures were there, but I never signed those contracts. Adil had forged everything. He had transferred 70% ownership to himself, leaving me with nothing. When I stormed into his office, he didn't even look guilty. He leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said, "Business is business. Don't take it personally. You should have been smarter." That moment shattered me. All those nights of sacrifice, all the trust, all the dreams, stolen in a single stroke of betrayal. The weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. I had no job, no income, no reputation. Clients who once praised me now refused to even answer my calls. My family pitied me. Friends distanced themselves, afraid of getting involved in my failure. Adil, on the other hand, was living like a king. Expensive cars, lavish parties, his photo in business magazines, all built on my work. I felt destroyed, broken, forgotten. But inside that darkness, a fire was slowly growing. I swore that I would make him pay, not with anger, not with fists, but with patience, intelligence, and precision. I knew his weaknesses better than anyone. Adil was arrogant, greedy, and reckless. He loved shortcuts, bending rules, and cutting corners. So, I played the long game. I reconnected with old employees who had left his company, and they began secretly sharing inside information with me. I studied every client he had, noting which ones were unhappy with his services. I began building my own silent company under a new name. Small at first, but trustworthy and efficient. At the same time, I started collecting evidence, forged signatures, fake invoices, illegal tax evasion, all carefully documented. I wanted not just revenge, but justice. For a year, I stayed in the shadows. Nobody knew what I was building. Not even Adil suspected. The government announced a massive logistics contract, the biggest in the country. Whoever won it would dominate the industry. Adil was confident it would be his. He spent millions on marketing and bribing officials. What he didn't know was that my new company was also bidding, and I had insider knowledge of every weakness. In his proposal, on the day of the bidding, he walked into the room smiling, shaking hands, acting like the king. But when the results were announced, his face turned pale. My company had won the contract. The same man who once told me I was too naive was now staring at me in disbelief. I wasn't done. The very same week, authorities launched a raid on his company based on the evidence I had been collecting for over a year. Fraud, tax evasion, illegal contracts, everything was exposed. News channels showed footage of police carrying out boxes of files. His employees abandoned him. His clients cut ties overnight. His bank accounts were frozen. Adil, the man who once sat in luxury, was now standing in court, fighting for his freedom. A year later, I stood at the grand opening of my company's new headquarters. The very dream that Adil tried to steal had now come true. Even bigger, even stronger. People introduced me as the man who survived betrayal and rose again. Investors wanted to work with me. Clients respected me. And he was drowning in debts, humiliated in public, and forgotten by the same people who once cheered for him in the end. I realized something important. Revenge isn't always about destroying someone in anger. The sweetest revenge is letting your enemy destroy himself, while you rise above stronger than ever. Adil's greed was his downfall. My patience was my weapon, and justice was finally mine.